All right, stand by with me for a minute here, guys. I'm gonna set up the live stream a little bit. I forgot to actually do the live chat here so I can see it. So it might actually kick off some. There we go. Let's see if anybody's. Can you guys hear me? I'm assuming it looks like the audio is on, but I'll wait till I hear something from somebody here. And I will grab this link and I will share it on my Twitter. Oh, wrong one. Oh, that'll happen. My computer's winding up here. Let's see what's going on. Close that down. There we go. Keith Evans is here. All right, somebody is here. So there is life. Okay, so I'll make sure that is going. I have to see if anybody's in Eastern Washington that wants to show up here. We might have some chasers still out there chasing this stuff. You guys see all the lightning it's producing out there. Pretty good forecast today, too, with the severe here across northeast Washington, across some of eastern Oregon. You can see these storms are going to move into Montana tonight, too. Not bad for Pacific Northwest here. I had at least several severe thunderstorm warnings today. I know there were some big hail reports. A lot of lightning out there. I know some strong winds up into BC too with this activity. Let's see how many people we got in here. 22. I guess not bad. Good evening from Victoria. I decided I'd do a live stream here. I haven't done one in a while, and I'm trying to make it a little bit more consistent here with the channel. I know I do the daily briefings, but I think it's good to do a live stream at least once every couple of weeks, or I'm going to try to do one at least every week or so. Yeah, California doing not bad as well. I see some flash flooding going on down there, some flash flood warnings anyway. Jim Tang out there, if you watch that, go to Jim Tang on Twitter, and he captured a bolt over Death Valley there, the Badlands. Some interesting thunderstorm activity kind of moving around across southern California, the deserts, Las Vegas. So not bad out there. Probably some nice photogenic lightning strikes as well. This is the program Radarscope was what I'm using here. Crazy clouds by Pullman. Yeah, I saw some of those Mamatis clouds out there as well. And you can see it's from this thunderstorm activity moving up into Idaho. You're probably getting some nice Mamatis cloud is when you're displacing a lot of mass up into the atmosphere, and then it comes down in a different portion of the clouds. And when it comes down there, it's kind of sinking air, and it makes those pouches, those Mamatis clouds. So that's probably why those Mamatis clouds are showing up. It's from this thunderstorm activity lifting that mass into the air, causing all the lightning strikes here in the precipitation. Then as it moves off, that cold air gets spread out and away from the main updrafts and starts to sink and makes those pouches. I've gotten some pretty good Mamatis clouds in my life. Actually, here in Pacific Northwest, I've seen some pretty good ones. Actually, one of my top 5 Mamatis cloud days was actually right here in Normandy Park. Some pretty impressive Mamatis clouds I had, and I've storm chased a lot out in the plains where it's kind of like a great show out there a lot of times too. Brad Ward with the Jim Tang shot. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was a nice shot he caught out there. And it's funny because on my last California video, if you go look there, I forget if it was like 2 minutes in or so, I talked about the potential of getting a lightning strike out over Death Valley. And I don't know if he watched my channel or not, but he took it up and he went out there and he got that shot. Pretty impressive. If you guys click on that link that Brad Ward posts. Jonathan Pulley, Brad Ward is in the house. Bainbridge Island. Yeah, but we definitely cooled down today, huh? I mean, it barely hit 60 at my house after getting to the upper 70s yesterday. Pretty big dramatic shift. It's kind of nice though. It'll be nice having a nice cool bedroom tonight. I don't sleep very well when it's super hot in my house. But you can kind of see this is at 500 millibars here. You see that trough kind of moving down over the area here. Going to hang out for a bit, but we are going to kick it out here, and you can kind of see the next ridging starting to come downstream here as well. So we're going to warm up towards the end of the week. Then we're going to try to shoot another trough across the region there, as you can see the West Coast dealing with that trough also. And this trough may, start to bring some severe weather chances back to the plains. This is what I'm going to go chase on Thursday. I think you can kind of see this trough here in the Texas Panhandle, Colorado, Wyoming, West Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, some of eastern New Mexico there, Wyoming up into Montana, some of western South Dakota, Nebraska. You have some really good chase area out here. So what I look for is some moisture that kind of moves up here. So it's higher terrain. You're going from just 1,000 feet out here to the east. Then you get up into Colorado and you're looking at some places get up towards 4,000 feet, even 5,000 feet towards Denver. So you bring that moisture up slope and you get some flow going over the top of it. And that flow, as it moves across the Rocky Mountains, creates what's known as a lee low. And it can actually give some turning in the lower levels of the atmosphere as this low pressure will set up here and it'll pull more moisture upslope and you get some nice flow above it. And that's kind of what usually signifies the arrival of May, is kind of these mesoscale plays where you get some subtle flow that arrives across the Rockies here with some moisture that moves upslope. And you can get some really nice severe weather days across some of the plains here, especially across the high plains. So that's what I'll be out there doing Thursday and on in through Friday. You can kind of see this troughing setting up here. So I'm hoping some of this starts to move out eastern New Mexico. You get some really photogenic storms here, even down in towards the El Paso area into Texas. You can get some really nice looking storms out here. And you can see that flow arriving here. Kind of an energetic subtropical jet. I believe it's a product of El Nino here. We're warming up the waters pretty good already across some of the Pacific Ocean, the equatorial Pacific. It's probably helping boost this jet stream here. And as you go into Saturday too, you can see that troughing still hanging out here and is pushing some pretty good flow out into West Texas, into eastern New Mexico, even up into Colorado. So I'll be watching this area on Saturday. Sunday, again, some pretty good flow emerging over the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle there. So that's kind of where I'll be highlighting on Sunday. And then when you get out a little bit farther, like into Monday here, you can kind of see the messy signal here, but there may be some mesoscale plays here as you go on into the early portion of the following week. Go out a little further. There's still some troughing going on near California, but how that will impact what's going on over some of the plains here is yet to be seen. But looks like a couple days of some decent chasing coming up here. But, the moisture's a little bit constrained as well. Let me answer some questions here, and I'll go back to that in a moment. Yeah, Colorado has some really photogenic stuff. I mean, you're not dealing with a lot of moisture, and the air seems to be really clear out there. The elevations are high, and some of these storms are high-based as well, and you can get some really photogenic storms out there. It's not uncommon when I'm out chasing. You can see storm bases 35 miles away on like a supercell thunderstorm. You can see the base of the storm from pretty far away. You can get some pretty good views. Race rocks in the Strait today. Winds to 48 miles per hour. Port Angeles is windy too. Yeah, that nice onshore flow going on. Here, let's take a look at that actually. Washington Weather Chasers in the house. Benjamin Yurkovich. That must mean he is around. I'm assuming that means Ben is in here. Thanks for the generosity. Trying to get Ben to go chasing storms here. He's getting a new house developed on a property out there, so he'll be living, he's setting that up. He's living in a trailer for a little bit here, but it's going to be worth it for him when he gets going. And he'll be having his own place to live with his wife, his awesome wife, Katie, out there. Okay, what was I doing here? Let's see. So we'll go to the her. I wanted to look at that, the surface winds here. Let's go to Washington State. I want to see that onshore flow here. Yeah, you can see that wind gust. And look at that straight of Juan de Fuca. Nice wind. This is steady state wind at about 80 meters here. Look at that westerly wind just shooting down there towards Whidbey Island. And look at the east slopes of the Cascades too. Pretty gusty winds out there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some blowing dust going on here across some of the terrain. I mean, look at those winds coming off. What? That's incredible. 48 miles per hour sustained. So what are the wind gusts doing out here? That's pretty intense. I mean, you're looking at some 60 mile per hour gust even out there. That's pretty wild. So what, that's about I-90 is like right here. So just south of I-90 here, are we talking about Yakima on the higher terrain here? Or is that, no, that's Cruz Vantage in the gorge. Yeah, so that's pretty windy out there. That's pretty crazy. There's Washington Weather Chasers. He is in the house there. Yeah, we got a lot of good weather chasers here in the Pacific Northwest. We got a good community. That's probably why, for example, the Seattle National Weather Service has the most followers of all the National Weather Service around the country. Really, I think that Seattle is number one. A lot of people here are very interested in the weather. A lot of smart people up here. Pretty stiff westerlies on Whidbey, says Jonathan. He is a local Whidbey Island observer here, up and coming. I mean, if it ends up being in Oklahoma, it doesn't look like it right now, but I would chase out there. But this is pretty good because that flow coming off the Rocky Mountains seems to be centered towards like eastern New Mexico, maybe Colorado and the Panhandle areas, which is good. Nice chasing terrain out there also. So they're going to be pretty photogenic storms. The further you go east, generally the more trees, but still I'll chase anywhere really west of I-35. I-35 runs from Dallas-Fort Worth up through Oklahoma City. If I can show that. So Dallas is right there in Oklahoma City. It's kind of a rule there, an unwritten rule that chasers chase anything west of I-35. Once you start getting east of there into Texas, Oklahoma, you start getting into the jungle, and there's a lot of trees out there, and you can get some pretty powerful tornadoes. So you got to be careful chasing out there. And once you get into Kansas is a little better in the east. Nebraska's not bad either. South Dakota's not bad in the east. So same with North Dakota. But once you get down into Oklahoma and Texas, off into the east there, Missouri can be pretty trees. Iowa's a pretty good chase terrain. I know Illinois has good road network. Me and Ben were out there. Pretty good road network out there. Kind of a mixed bag between trees and nice terrain. But once about the time you start getting up towards Wisconsin there, the trees reemerge, some nice forests. But there's nice chase terrain all the way in through Montana too, all the way up towards Helena and Great Falls there. The moisture can make its way up there from the Gulf of Mexico. And in the summertime, it'll make its way into Canada too. And Canada usually has a few days each year where you get some nice chases up there as well. And Wyoming always has its surprises as well. You bring that moisture upslope and the terrain gets really high. You're up 4,000 or 5,000 feet or more across a lot of eastern Wyoming where there still is some plains here. And then you bring the Rocky Mountains here and you can bring this moisture all the way in through Montana also. So, and the Black Hills, like South Dakota is really gorgeous area here. And Nebraska is really gorgeous. West Kansas is probably the top chasing area. The road network is just gridded. You can get anywhere. It's completely flat. And man, the storms are just gorgeous out there also. Colorado, the road network isn't as nice, but the storms sure look good. Same with New Mexico, kind of a mixed bag of road networks out there. The Texas Panhandle's not bad. There's kind of the canyon there where you got to watch out for the storms. When they start moving through the canyons, there's very limited road options there also. But yeah, Texas, West Texas, west of Dallas is kind of a mixed bag of chasing too, because you're not dealing with great road networks. You have big gaps between the roads, so you get back and forth. So you got to position exceptionally well here versus like West Kansas, where you've got like, there's not even mile gridded roads, like perfectly gridded. You can pretty much get anywhere. The only thing you have to worry about for like West Kansas is the mud out there. Things get pretty wet. 55 mile per hour gust by Ryegrass Summit near Vantage. Yeah, so that was verifying then. Ben verified that her gusting out there. That's crazy. 55 miles per hour. That's impressive. It's probably getting the wind turbines going out here pretty well. El Nino is coming, yes. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the June 1st El Nino forecast on the European is also, because I mean, everything that we've been looking at so far has like an 80+% chance of moderate, and then like 55% chance, I think it is, or 54% chance of a strong El Nino. So pretty good. Yeah, pretty good signal. Salina, Kansas. Yeah, that's not bad chase territory up there for sure. Smelled some smoke driving east. Yeah, man, I flew in the other day and it was just wild. There was smoke really banked up to the Cascades here too. It's much better across western Washington, but you could really see the smoke across the Rockies of Montana and into Idaho there as well. It was pretty depressing to see it this early in the year. It's depressing any time of the year to get caught in the forest fire smoke, but especially so early. Hopefully it's not a sign of things to come. A bit of rain today here on central Vancouver Island. Wide scale. So let's, yeah, I thought I saw some of it. Let me look at that really quick here. So on the Camino, it looks like there was some light rain. Yeah, it looks like that's probably a kind of a weak convergence signature up here. So that's probably, yeah, I mean, it's going to get wet here across Snohomish County up into the Cascades. I mean, nothing too crazy, but anything up here? A few showers roaming around north of Vancouver Island there also. See if anything's showing on the Langley Doppler. Nah, not really. Okay, so, oh, knocked my camera over. Let's take a look at how these storms are doing. Oh, did I crash the radar scope? I think I did. So they took down all the severe warnings around here right now. It's actually flash flood warning in Kansas, a couple of them. Texas, California. Furnace Creek, Death Valley. So yeah, maybe there was another nice lightning show there in Death Valley today. Yeah, it looks like there was probably a thunderstorm out there also. Definitely some north of Vegas there. I used to live right here in Tonopah, Nevada. Oh, there's a thunderstorm. Yeah, it was not too far from Tonopah, Nevada, it looks like, too. I mean, it seemed like I lived out here in Nevada, and it seemed like 1/10 of an inch of rain would just really wash some gullies in the loose soil out there. It was pretty wild how much it didn't take much rain to make things crazy. Yeah, I got to get my live stream figured out too when I go out there. Because if I use my phone for live streaming, then I don't have it for checking out the Doppler. I could use my iPad at the same time. So I'm trying to think of how to do that. Yeah, watch for some Mattis there. I mean, I guess the sun is going down about by now, but I was going to check out the 18Z European here too. So there's that trough. Going to try to rebuild that ridge there for a bit through the end of the week here. Is that next sharp trough coming? No, look at that. Oh, okay. So the GFS has backed off on that. Look at that. Another prolonged ridge here, maybe for the Pacific Northwest. Troughing tries to get out there and kick into California. Look at another Omega block just up there into Canada and through early June. What is going on here? Stagnant ridges. Are we going to go through another one here? I mean, you guys, if you watched today's video, you saw that we just went through that pretty impressive streak. I better look at the 12Z European here as well, because the Euro had a really sharp trough diving down. In fact, let's check that out right now. I'm curious about this. So we'll go to the 12Z. Actually, let's go to yesterday afternoons first. So there's the first trough there. It's cooling us down now, basically. The ridge comes in, warms us up for a bit, and the European, as of yesterday, dropped this sharp trough. Look at that, just bowling ball for the Pacific Northwest. Much colder air loft associated with that. But now let's do this. Let's compare that versus, this morning's versus yesterday afternoon's. So this is going to be interesting here. troughing. Ridge tries to build. So the one from yesterday afternoon is on the right. Oh, big differences right there. Look at the bowling ball. It's already taking shape across kind of southeast Alaska and much weaker on this morning's run. I was paying attention to the severe weather threat and not looking, but look at this huge shift. What an incredible shift. The bowling ball is just gone. So we warm up this week again, and then it crashed us right back down. And now it's like, nope, we're going to have ridging, and that trough is totally AWOL. That is just a huge, stark change there. That's incredible. So, yeah, that is quite the interesting shift there. I did not realize that when I checked out the 12Z this is today. Man, that trough is just gone. Okay. So, yeah, that's going to play some havoc. Now let's do this. Let's go ahead and back up. Let's back out of that. And we'll go to, oops, back up again. Got some issues. So we'll do the 18Z versus the 12Z. This only goes out 144, but it'll give us a look at it here. Ridge. It's trying to bring it back a little bit here in the 18Z. The European is having a rough time of it here. Look at that. Another big swing. Look at that. The 12Z versus the 18Z. This ridge, it is not dealing with this ridge well here. Wild swings. So let's compare that to yesterday afternoon. Yeah, so maybe that 12Z was an outlier here, and that troughing is a little bit different here, but still, it's there with the ridge just offshore here. This is going to be a fickle forecast. This is going to change probably back and forth a bit more. So if this low takes a little bit further of an east path here, you know, it'll be a big difference versus this big bowling ball right over the top of us here. But yeah, I know a lot of people around here will like the nice cool weather, especially in summertime. You know, today was pretty darn nice. It was only 60 degrees or whatever it was, but it's nice to have that break from the very warm temperatures. But yeah, now when you get stuff like that, it's always good to look back at the ensembles too. So let's take a look at the 18Z versus the 12Z. This is the ensemble, so this averages all 50 of the individual ensemble members. And so we've got the ridging. We warm up a little bit here towards the end of the week. Yeah, man, even the ensembles have pretty big differences. There's a little bit of a trough you can see here, but definitely much more apparent here on the 18Z. And if we back up towards yesterday afternoons, yeah, so the 18Z and yesterday afternoon's run are much more similar there. So the 12Z is probably a little bit of an outlier here. Doesn't mean that it won't eventually win out. But yeah, something to watch here for the next few days. Hey, TJ. Thanks for all my members here, all my subscribing members. Thank you very much. You make this channel possible. Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about with that severe weather, but I'll be out chasing here probably on Thursday. I'm probably headed out Wednesday. And we'll see how long this one lasts. It looks like there might be a bit of a break coming. I don't know, by what, Monday there or something. If we look at the moisture here, the flow is not exceptionally strong here. You could still get some interesting stuff here with this westerly flow if it comes in a little bit stronger, but you got to have the moisture around too. So let's see. That's not bad. Anytime I start seeing upper 50s and just around 60 into the Colorado-Kansas border, just into Colorado or New Mexico or into Wyoming, mid 50s into Wyoming, mid and upper 50s into Montana, it gets my attention a little bit. So the reason why I'm coming out here is because, so here we go, Tuesday. You can see there's some moisture. It's not great though. And this is why. See this drier air up in here. So we're going to go to upper air heights. And you see this trough hanging out here. This is no good. You kind of want a ridge here that allows moisture to return. The ridge circulates clockwise here. So you're going and you're bringing air back up from the Gulf of Mexico into the plains here. But this is a trough, so it's spinning this way. So it's suppressing some of that moisture return out of the Gulf of Mexico. So you get these dew points, all the way down into, Alabama, Mississippi, dew points only in the upper 40s or maybe low 50s, I should say. But you can see this kind of, it's restricting the flow. It's kind of a narrow band down here into Texas. You're not allowing a lot of it to get up here. Although you still get the moisture up in here at times, but it's not as good as if you just had an open corridor from the Gulf of Mexico across the plains, and you can get that all the way up into Montana, some nice moisture, and you need that moisture for those severe storms if you want to be out there chasing. So anyway, this is Tuesday, and I'll scroll ahead here. And now as you go into Tuesday afternoon, there is some moisture around. It is trying to get upslope into Colorado and Wyoming and Montana a bit here. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. But this trough here is suppressing some of that return somewhat. Now, as we go into Thursday, there's probably the first day I'll be out chasing. You can see, notice you're getting close to 60 up into the Colorado and New Mexico area. And so that's kind of interesting. And so there will be some moisture around here. And then I think it's Friday. There's Friday, not bad in New Mexico. And I think Saturday was kind of interesting here. You get a pretty good dry line here right on the Texas-New Mexico border. And you get that's pretty good moisture into the Texas Panhandle. So if we go ahead and do this, let's go ahead and do regions. And we'll go to South Central here. And we'll take a look here. You're talking about mid-60s into the Panhandle here. That's actually pretty darn good. And you can see earlier in the day, you had 62 all the way into southeast New Mexico there on Friday. And then Saturday, you start to have that good moisture around. And then I take a look at this. So upper air wind, you look at about 5,000 foot winds here. And you can see this upslope flow. See the southeast wind here? That's what you want too. So you get the southeasterly flow here. And it's pretty strong by 0Z. You can see some of these areas picking up. Not a bad little low-level jet there, over 25 knots. And then you look at the upper-level wind speeds here, and you can see some of this flow at 500 millibars. You're talking about 40 knots here, some of the greens. And that's plenty of bulk shear to fire off some storms. It actually would probably be a tornado threat with some of these storms as well. Some nice sculpted supercells. So that's what I'll be chasing out there on Saturday. That kind of looks like a decent day right there. And then we'll take a look here. Sunday, you're still getting that decent flow over the Panhandle. Then you look at 850 millibars, and you can kind of see the spin there, a little bit of a surface low, some return moisture back up in here. The southeasterlies at 5,000 feet probably make for a nice play right around Amarillo again and areas to the west. And then we take a look at moisture here. And you can see that Amarillo clocking at 63. That is plenty. That's a Cap Rock magic here. Look at some of these dew point 69 at Childress with nice flow aloft and back to 850s. And not a bad dry line in there as well. So Saturday, Sunday do have some pretty good potential. Move on into Monday as well. And you got some activity going on down here through West Texas. Also some mid-60s potentially. But again, you got to check the winds. 850. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. Back there at 850 millibars, 500 millibars. The flow is not impressive, though. There is kind of the fly in the ointment for Monday here. You're talking about what? Maybe 28 knots. But locally, you can get some higher flow here, especially it's not a bad shear vector coming right out of the west. So you could get some severe storms here. And if it comes in a little bit stronger, you'd get a tornado threat with that as well. But yeah, that's what you get in the month of May. Going a little bit further, and you can kind of see some flow out here at 500 millibars. And again, you check at 850, still having that back southeasterly wind there. So you still have that severe potential. And then you check the moisture. And you can see their moisture is not too bad there. It's not restricting it too much here for some portions of West Texas. There's plenty of moisture when you're getting it a little bit upslope there. Anyway, back to the questions here. Let's see. Change coming. Yep, we got the burn scar. Hopefully we're not getting any of that flooding out there today. Some good footage near the clouds in Pullman. Somewhat warm day in Central California. How come lightning doesn't strike birds more often? I don't know the answer to that question. It probably does at times. But I don't know. Maybe they know, they're smart enough to know that thunderstorms are a problem. The winds start to pick up there and the temperature drops, and maybe they take shelter. I don't know. I'm sure you would get birds killed when trees get struck and stuff like that. Garrett Hartung in the house. Oh yeah, so Garrett can chase on the 29th. But man, you're going to miss the weekend, man. You got to get out here. Dew points up to 70, sir. Yeah, Reed will be out, I'm sure. It seems like I see him almost every day that I chase for whatever reason. I mean, there's so many gas stations out here and so many places to go, but we always seem to be at the same one and we see each other on the road. It's pretty crazy and it's very interesting. I think we have similar thought processes to how this stuff, how it unfolds. But yeah, the thing is, he has the Dominator and I don't, so that kind of makes a difference. He can take routes that I would take also if I had the Dominator, and he can get up close and personal to some of these storms and tornadoes. And I'm in a rental car and I can't really do that stuff, so he has that advantage there. Still 8 foot of snow in Donner Summit. Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good storm chasers out there that do live streams and whatnot too. I got to start doing that. It would be kind of fun to do live streams. I might just get a second phone actually to be able to do that more often. So I'd like to do it more often here as well, but I need my phone to check Doppler radar stuff also. But yeah, Sunday, not bad. Moisture there. Monday, not bad as well. Not a bad dry line even down, You get some Fort Stockton action going on here Monday. Tuesday, decent moisture around. But I kind of like the look of Saturday, Sunday. I mean, you're talking about Sunday all the way up into Amarillo with nice dews. Saturday, the same thing. You're getting almost 60 towards the New Mexico border. 60s into Colorado. You got to watch out for that flow coming over top of that. You can get some really spectacular stuff there also. And even mid-50s into Wyoming can produce surprises also. Got that crazy cloud footage by Pullman uploaded if anyone's interested. And send it to me on Twitter. I'll retweet it. Yeah, good. Yeah, I wouldn't get Reed Timmer type views on my live streams out there, but I'd probably have a few. Yeah, this trough, I mean, maybe I'm overstating the effects of this trough a little bit here. You can kind of see it's really restricting the moist air. And I mean, it's going to feel great across Alabama, Mississippi, some portions, Louisiana, Missouri out there with the lower dew points, but it's not really that restrictive here. These dew points can do it just fine. I mean, I haven't checked the depth of this moisture or anything, but you can see a little bit of, I don't know if that's just mixing in the European there or not, but I should check some soundings there as well. In fact, let's do that just so I can check the depth of that moisture coming up there. So let's go to, let's do South Central. We'll check some soundings here. We got GFS. This is just running. We got surface. We'll do dew point and wind barbs, and we will run out here a little bit. And let's go all the way to Thursday. This will be the first day I'll be out here. I mean, the depth of the moisture doesn't look like too much of an issue there. You can see Thursday that does not like the flow down there. I picked a bad spot for the flow. Let me try a little bit further north. Let me try Amarillo. Just severe. A little bit of an inverted V there. Not too much instability, but I'll find a spot there Thursday, actually. So let's go do this. Let's speed ahead to Saturday. Yeah, you can kind of see that trough impacting the moisture return a little bit more here. What time is this? Saturday 21Z. The GFS doesn't have as much moisture back up in there, but I mean 60 dews into the panhandle can still do it. Flow aloft isn't very strong though. Yeah, Aaron J-Jack, I see him out there in the LOL car a lot of times too. Okay, I'll try to remember to check your channel there. Let's see. Can I do that? No. Yep, thunderstorms are always hit and miss. Sorry about that, guys. It might not be done tonight, too, wherever you are out there. There's still storms moving across, especially into western Montana. If you guys are in Missoula or Helena or something, heads up for tonight. I actually want to check out the... I don't want to add an overlay. I just want to see the geo color. Hey, you can see how we were kind of socked in today. Maybe a little bit of sunshine was out there to be had, but you can see those thunderstorms rolling across. Fraser Valley socked in. How's the smoke doing out there? Anybody out that way in Alberta or... Just back it up a bunch more here. Yeah, look at that smoke. Jeez. Man, somebody put out those fires out there. What in the world? Kind of lucky if you live in Western Washington, Oregon, or BC a lot of the time. I mean, because you get fires in the Cascades, and a lot of times the westerlies will keep that wind away. But even like the Bolt Creek last year really was persistent north of Seattle. I mean, gosh, it was just keeping that smoke in the area. I went out there to take photographs and fly the drone around a little bit once, and it was... And the both times that I saw it out there was just putrid. It was just rough. And it was persistent too. Well, in Spokane this evening, you can kind of see how the axis of storms is now kind of moving into the panhandle and north of Spokane. You can't rule out one of these thunderstorms building back down towards Spokane, but I don't know that that's going to happen. Looks like much of the activity is just now pushing off to the north and east. Yeah, it's been pretty muggy in the night. Yeah. I lived beside 4 out of the control wire fires. It was raining ash for 2 days. Pretty bad. Yeah, and that's bad news. But yeah, if you guys are just joining me, we're going through some swings in the model runs here. Trough versus no trough. Who do you believe? I mean, it's still kind of a troughing signal there. But the control run really... The 12Z control run kept that ridge going. I wonder what's driving that. Kind of associated with that polar lobe. You can see swinging around North Pole there. But it's... Yeah, I mean, when you get such big discrepancies, it's not even worth putting much stock into it at all, especially when it's that far out. I mean, we're talking about the weekend coming up here. This is still Friday. So, yeah, over the next couple days, we'll work those details out. The thing is that yeah, we got the 12. We got the hot off the presses GFS. Let's take a look at that. Here's a brand new GFS on the left versus itself at 18Z. Ridging builds. Now it's bringing in the trough from the different direction. The European wants to drop this one down on us. And you can see it's a bit stronger here on the 18Z run. And this one is much closer to the West Coast here. So the GFS is going through it too. It's going through a rough time here with this troughing extends all the way down towards western BC versus the bridge clearly in control here. So yeah, we have a very muddled signal on what's coming after that. I mean, you can't, at 200 hours, it's a pretty huge difference in the placement of this ridge. There's really not much. There's some slight ridging here in the big dome right there versus the troughing much weaker and much stronger here on the 0Z. Yeah, we need to get that smoke out of here quickly. We got a lot of precip coming for that area. Let's do this. Let's see the 0Z, and we'll do precipitation. We'll do total, and we'll let this run through here. You can see Alberta getting quite a bit of precip. I don't know if I think that's where the fires are, and you can see big amounts. Most of that occurring as we go through Monday night into Tuesday. So hopefully that really starts to squelch some of those fires. Yeah, I saw some of those photos of the ice jams in the Yukon. I saw some of that. Like some of them rode up on the highway and everything. Hopefully it's warm enough where they can melt those things away. It's like having huge concrete barriers out there. I mean, sometimes the models go through discrepancies. And it is because, you know, the jet stream is not as persistent. And we did actually go through this a little bit, you know, a couple months ago here. Remember that big pattern shift we had? It looked like we were going to warm up and the troughing quickly re-emerged in the models. So it's just something that happens sometimes with the models. And when you go through something like that, you still have to look at what similarities are out there. It still has the trough, West Alaska, and this one's just a little bit further in here. So... but man, that is pretty big. That's a pretty stark difference run to run. And the Europeans going through it as well. So that being said, let's check the Canadian versus itself. We'll look at, is Canadian already running right now? Cool, yeah. So we got the Canadian hot off the presses here as well. Okay, we warm up a bit this week. There's that agreement there. Ridge builds. Yeah, okay. There's no bowling ball coming down on us there. And then it starts to show some troughing in the very, you know, at the end of the weekend there. That's not really telling us much. It doesn't have a very strong ridge. I mean, it does show the warm up coming, but then it kind of quickly gets that ridging out of there. And we do have the troughing here, as you can see. So the Canadian, not too big of a swing there. And it is showing some troughing nearby. So maybe that's a little bit higher confidence forecast in the trough returning as we go through the weekend. Yeah, this is just not a favorable setup here for a lot of the coast. I mean, we've had the warm, moist air across the Pacific Northwest here, and it's not the typical, you know, mid-latitude cyclones that are just kind of bringing frontal systems in here. You know, we're getting some of that. We got some of that quasi-monsoonal flow here, and like with this system, you can kind of see how this flow is coming from the south here. You're kind of bringing up some moist air from the south. So it's just not incorporating the coastal regions right now. And you got to remember, this time of the year, we start getting in towards summertime. The Pacific Northwest is it's one of the driest spots in North America, really. So we're getting that spot where we're going to start cutting off precipitation a lot. And if you notice, like Seattle hasn't been rainy. You know, it hasn't been raining much across here. I mean, you look at the month of May here and what we've got. We had the one day there with 0.7 of an inch, but since then we've had, you know, 1200ths in just the thunderstorm. We had 100th of an inch there on the 20th. Couple trace days. You know, we really start drying out at this time of year. And you look at our record precipitation in inches in the month of May. There's only a handful, like only 3 days have over an inch of rain ever have fallen in the month of May, which sounds pretty stark for Seattle, right? And you look at April and you kind of see the big differences there, where a lot of the days do have inch plus daily record highs there. There's even that one with 2.64 in 1991 on April 4th. And then you go back to March and you can kind of see that huge change there. You got a lot of them over an inch, some over 2 inches. And yeah, by the time we get to June, July, and August, we are really dry here across Pacific Northwest. We're usually drier than places like Phoenix, Arizona, for example. Pacific Northwest weather lover. Yep, no problem. I'll try to be doing these like once every week or every couple weeks. Do you think we'll see more cyclones in the Pacific with El Nino because warmer water? Yeah, I mean, you could, like places for like Hawaii too, wouldn't, you can get hurricanes to affect Hawaii. I think it's a little bit better when you have El Nino conditions. Probably not too bad for the Western Pacific, all the way out towards, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines. But you can still get them. Thunderstorms in Reno. Very dry compared to last May, June. Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see where these thunderstorms came from today. You kind of see this moisture. I mean, Nevada getting some pretty rare thunderstorms. It's kind of unusual to get that. And some of those moved down through Death Valley yesterday, and you can kind of see those popping off across the mountainous areas down there. But we didn't get much up here, and you can see there's not much going on right now. I mean, maybe if a trough does form and sets up over us, we'll get some better precipitation chances here for places Cascades West, but there's no promises on that. You saw kind of how the model runs have been in fluctuation right now. But yeah, so what else? Yeah, hopefully we do bring that precipitation in towards Alberta and BC and get those fires out, for goodness sake. And look at this. I mean, the Texas Panhandle and Kansas down here, Oklahoma Panhandle, are typically extremely arid places, very dry, and they're getting a lot of precip out there. I mean, look at that. That is just impressive. I mean, if we go to precipitation anomaly, look at that across some of Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas, and extremely dry there across some of the Midwest. Look at Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, very dry. And look at the west coast of BC. Some of the mountainous areas here for the next 16 days. Maybe we'll set up some more thunderstorms here across the higher terrain again. What an active season so far, thunderstorm-wise, here across the Pacific Northwest. What time is it? 9:34. All right. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to come by and say hi and chat with you guys for a while here. I'm going to try to do these live streams more, and I may just go out and get another cell phone plan on my Verizon plan here and just have it so I can live stream off it when I'm out chasing, and you guys can just get a picture to what storm chasing can be like at times, and I can just leave the live stream on and you can see what we're doing and whatnot. But might be kind of exciting and nice. No, you can show pretty much any place on the planet here, really. I mean, you can go to Northern Hemisphere and you can see Africa and Europe over there. You can see China and Japan and Hawaii down there. So yeah, you can show it all. If you want 16 days, look at the tropics. You can see all the precipitation it picks up there. No precip expected across portions of California, Arizona, for example, some of the driest places on the planet, And when we get into summertime, it gets extremely dry across Pacific Northwest here as well. just don't have that warm water. It's kind of a cool water setup here, so we don't get really a lot of deep convection here, for example, to get a lot of that heavy rain. But this is really good across some of the mountainous west here, all the way down through the plains here. That signal there for precipitation is really nice to see. I mean, look at this. Some places getting up over 3 inches in the panhandle there. That's just excellent news. Anyway, yep, I'm going to end the live stream now, you guys. And I'll be out there chasing in a few days, but I still have a few more days to go here. So we'll break down that trough. We'll try to nail down those details and just see, are we going to remain warm? Are we going to cool down? We'll see how that goes. But anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow during the regular briefing, and I